real estate law firm here in San Diego is now calling attention to a growing problem affecting thousands of property owners in California.
And they're warning people about squatters.
Squatters who move into private homes and apartments and stay for long periods of time without the owner's permission.
What are they going to do about it?
You're breaking in my house, bro. You break es mi casa esa. And all of
The bathroom. Oh boy, oh boy.
He is continuing the wrong way on Valencia Boulevard, approaching Railroad Avenue. Look at this, continuing with LAP. Look at this, oh my God.
What a relief. I've been so tense watching this. It was just so dangerous.
If you steal a car, you go to jail. If you shoplift from a store in California over $950, you're committing a crime. But if you steal an entire home, move in, change the locks, then claim it as yours, in California, nothing happens to you. At least, not quickly.
This woman was trying to get inside her own home, but the previous owner refused to leave.
The law often protects the intruder more than the owner. This is the story of how California's broken system forces desperate homeowners to take matters into their own hands. To understand why this happens, we turn to attorney Jonathan Madison, who's seen the system from the inside.
Squatting is you wouldn't call him a tenant. It's an individual breaking into another person's home. Even if it's not breaking into a home, it's unlawfully acquiring possession of that home and staying there and saying that they have rights. That's basically what it is. You taking possession of someone else's home.
I didn't expect it to be this bad, but it's pretty bad.
He just evicted squatters.
They got in through here.
Who he says broke into the property almost a year ago.
And then broke in the window and then took out the lock.
He says it's taken about 9 months to evict them, leaving damage to the walls, flooring, and doors.
We have hundreds of clients we represent a year. And of those clients, it's common to have about 10 to 20%. Say they're either acquiring property that has a squatter, and they need to figure out how to deal with it, or that they've inherited property that has a squatter, which is even more alarming. And then you get those cases where you have a retiree or someone recently that may have an investment home, found out after they stepped away for a month or so, there's a squatter there, and the squatter's not going anywhere. So happens pretty frequently.
He said he wasn't leaving. That was it. Wasn't going to leave the house, barricaded himself in the house.
Now, after a 14-month battle, the squatter and his family have finally moved out.
I think the biggest misconception is that it doesn't happen very often. I think people look at squatters as this poster child, so to speak, of this very small problem. Like we're amplifying the issue. And I can tell you, practicing here in California for over 10 years, it's not a fake issue. It's not a poster child issue. It is real. Squatters are in, I'd say, most counties here in the state of California, especially the Bay Area region, southern region in Los Angeles. And so I think that's the biggest misconception, that it's not really a big deal, but the right or certain pundits or people are banking on it and making it a bigger issue than it is. No, I don't think they're making a big enough issue of it. We represented a client by the name of Stephanie Warren about 1.5 years ago. She hired my firm after she was unable to get squatters out of her property as an investment property, just in Oakland, right over the bridge. And what happened was she purchased this property, started fixing it up, stepped away for about 3 weeks or so, came to find out around the holidays that there were Christmas lights up on the home. So she said, well, I'm not living there and I don't know of anyone else that's living there. Why are there Christmas lights up on the home? So she goes in and she finds the door locks are changed. So she hires a locksmith to change the locks, open it up, finds a whole family of people living in there, squatters. And she said, well, I need you guys to go. This is not your property. And they looked at her and said, well, we have civil rights under the state of California. She said, well, I'm not aware of any civil rights that would allow you to break into my home, And by the way, these people broke into her home with a baseball bat, broke windows, shattered glass, ended up changing the locks. So clearly unlawful entry. And, you know, eventually she called the police when she got on the phone with me so I could hear what was going on. She had a Ring camera installed so you could actually see them break in about 3 weeks prior. And the police officer looked at her and said, well, there's nothing we can really do. They have rights here since they've been here now. And all the tenant had to do effectively was, or the tenants had to do was show them photo identification and show them some piece of anecdotal evidence that they lived there. Some piece of mail that they got from, you know, a company or something. So I live here, I have rights. Police officer said, you got to hire an attorney. And it took between $5,000 to $15,000 to get them out. And it took about 6 to 8 months. No rent, she couldn't collect anything. She almost lost the property in the process. So just using that analogy, best analogy I can think of right now, you would say they legally or got procedural rights as squatters once, really it's once they stepped foot in the home. I mean, that's really how it is in California. If you could step foot in the home and then demonstrate, I guess the part 2 of that would be demonstrating, look, there's some anecdotal evidence that you live there. So they showed a piece of mail to the police officer. They showed a photo identification. There you have it. You've established procedural rights. So if you want to break into a home in California, all you need to do is have photo identification. And I'm not advising anybody, but this is how easy it is. Photo identification and some anecdotal piece of evidence that you live in the property. And you can live there for a time. Step by step, the process is you serve what's called a 3-day notice to quit. It's basically a notice to the occupant, the squatter, that they have 3 days to leave before you file a civil action, right? They call it an unlawful detainer action here in California. And so they have this 3-day time frame. If they don't leave within 3 days, you as a landlord have the right to file an unlawful detainer action in state court for their eviction. And it depends on what county you're in. If you're in Alameda, you know, the major counties, if you're in San Francisco, you know, just get comfortable, unfortunately, you know, or get comfortably uncomfortable for a long time, however you want to think about it, because their process is much longer because they have more squatters, they have more issues like that, right? On average, before COVID, we were looking at 4 months, sometimes 2 months, 2 to 4 months. Now we're looking at 6 to 8 sometimes. And it's really egregious. No rent, no anything can be collected during that time. So you have 3-day notice, unlawful detainer action, and if you get to the point where you have what's called a mandatory settlement conference, that's the mandatory conference before a trial date's been set, you get the opportunity to, as a landlord, negotiate with your squatter about how much you're going to pay the squatter to leave their property, right? And this is after attorney's fees, you know, so the landlord has paid me, they paid the court filing fees, and now the squatter is asking for relocation payments, right? And also, you have some squatters that say, well, pay me a little extra so I don't sue you for any damage I've experienced in your house while I've been there, you know? And it's quite ridiculous. And so that's their opportunity in the settlement conference. If you get to a trial, and most of the squatters are pretty crafty, they don't want a trial at that point, you know, because they know a spotlight's going to be on them. You're spending a lot more money as a landlord just because it takes a lot of time to get prepared for trial, a lot of work. If you get through to the trial stage and you evict the squatter, you still have to wait for a sheriff to come to the property and actually effect the eviction. You're looking at another 4 to 6 weeks probably. So on average, through that whole procedural process, you're looking at sometimes 8 months, 9 months, sometimes 10. It just depends, you know.
But when the courts won't act fast enough, some owners turn to unconventional help. Meet James Jacobs from ASAP Squatter Removal.
And, sorry about that, bud.
A Bay Area service that steps in where the law falls short. James is unconventional.
James Jacobs has been trained in martial arts for 15 years, showing me what's called a trainer blade. It would be illegal to have a real blade in public, but Jacobs started his company, ASAP Squatter Removal.
One early morning job in San Bruno went wrong. On January 6, 2026 at 2:30 a.m., Jacobs and his team forced entry into a home using a battering ram and multiple weapons, including Jacobs' signature katana sword. Body cam footage obtained by local media shows what appears to be a woman's voice threatening to shoot Jacobs and his team if they tried to enter. That's when Jacobs used his katana in self-defense to clear the room of threats, while one of his contractors can be seen aiming his gun in the direction of an occupant's voice. They eventually removed 5 squatters inside. Now, the San Mateo District Attorney is pressing several charges against Jacobs and his team, including burglary, assault, and false imprisonment. Among the men he brought along was a convicted felon with prior charges.
The fact that you're calling me a vigilante also is implying that I'm on the right side of justice.
We embedded with James to scope out a 12-unit complex overtaken by Sereños and squatters in Oakland.
The parcel is separated so that 9920 and 9922 are a separate parcel from 9918. So I'm only contracted for 9920, 9922. I want to be contracted for 9918, but there's a bunch of complications. One of them is that there are tenants in 9918. So that makes it to where I have a lot of, problems with actually doing anything. Yeah. Okay. But there's also a Sereno gang that is in 9918.
So it's Sereños occupying that unit?
Yes. They currently there was a bank robbery in San Ramon. I'm not going to name what. I'm not going to release that information. But there was a bank robbery in San Ramon not that long ago, and there were 2 getaway cars, and one of them just so happened to go to that property.
Lovely.
So that is who we're dealing with.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to identify whether or not somebody is in the first unit that is closest to us. Okay, this guy is known to have a dog, so I mean, god damn, we need to be quiet. But let's be ready to go. It's just completely clear. You see that? There's nobody in there. Nothing.
The way my knees shake.
We're doing surveillance. We're trying to establish who's at what residence, and we're trying to establish what families and so forth. Okay. If there's actually any kids or any families whatsoever. I didn't hear anything. I did not hear anything. There could be children that are in school, but not at these hours. Maybe they're an after-school activity. Well, we keep going and checking on it later tonight and tomorrow.
Seems.
As of right now, if I was a betting man, I'm willing to say that they're bluffing, that they were 100% pulling our chain, and there are no families up in that unit. And we do know there are families in 9922. We have confirmed it because we saw kids, but they're teenagers.
Okay.
So we don't like working with kids like that are really young. Yeah. Okay. Any type of possible threat of that something can go wrong, that, you know, because in these kind of physical altercations, you never know, you know. Hey, look at this, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this apparently used to be a homeless community, just took over like a horde.
So just a horde of homeless there?
Yeah, just straight up, man. Wow. Packs of just, I mean, look at this shit. It's so bad, man. It's so bad. Real estate has a huge, lengthy history of discrimination. I mean, right now in San Francisco, we're charging $500,000 for property, you know, that you already own, but you just want the right to build on. And we fine, we extort people who own property. That's what we do. You own property, well, now we want money from you. And you know, the unlawful detainer system has been the same thing. It's been a profiteering sector for our courts for a long time. When it comes to what I stand for and the morals and what I think is wrong and right, I think what I'm doing, we can say what I'm fighting for, I'm fighting the good fight. I think this is more just than the war of, you know, that we fought in Iraq and Iran, and you know, Vietnam, and this current war that we're in right now. I'm definitely thinking that you know, what I'm doing is more of a worthy cause. I mean, people here are suffering, man. I get clients that are crying, you know, they spend 20, 30 years of their life only to lose their property. I mean, this is more than just an item, and you're basically, could you imagine if I was allowed to steal something from you, and then you have to go to court to get it back and all that, and all this process, and then not only that, but it's like you have a situation in which it's of something of incredible value. I mean, you have real estate law, and I don't know why it's so lenient when auto laws make it to where, you know, it's a serious thing to steal a car. Why is stealing a house not even on the same remote, you know, level? I just don't get it.
California legislature has a lot to do with that. There's been this movement of, you may have heard of this, housing as a right. You know, this housing as a right movement. Look, everybody likes to think of housing as a right. It's a human right, everybody has a right. I think of housing as a right meaning you have a right to purchase housing, to acquire housing, to make a living and purchase property. There are some people in this state and this country that believe that housing is a right regardless of whether they purchase it or whether they occupy it by any means, right? And I think the legislature has been very, and they'll say, compassionate and sympathetic to people at various parts of the socioeconomic spectrum. And they've said, okay, well, if you can't afford it, we're at least not going to penalize you for occupying unlawfully somebody else's space while you get it together. And that's really, if I really answer your question, that's really the heart of what it is. These legislatures and leaders in California, I'll call it for what it is. Gavin Newsom has really led the charge on this. This idea that if you are struggling, you can demonstrate you're in a hardship, no one's going to arrest you for unlawfully occupying someone else's property. If you can demonstrate you're having hard times, that means you can unlawfully occupy that property, break and enter, whatever means. There is now, it hasn't always been this way, there is now this legislature and these leaders, political leaders in California, who are saying it's okay, housing is a right, do what you need to do, break into someone else's property, and that they may not be saying this out loud, but in the law they are saying it, because I don't know one squatter, you know, I've attempted to evict over these last 10 years that's been arrested. No.
Not one.
Not one. Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Lifesaver, seriously.
Yeah, you'll probably have to swing it all the way around.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it says that. So after the initial wave of surveillance, we are back, ran to the hardware store, grabbed decking screws. He was told by the landlord that granted him access to work on the property to get these squatters out that he wanted all 4 of these windows up here for all these units to essentially be reinforced. So he just got some broken up 2x4s off of a pallet here, boarding up the windows with the spare 2x4s, due to the fact that one of the squatters, the one that lives on the far end, he owns a dog, and he's been letting his dog out on the roof of this person's business, where obviously you see the paw prints and the dog poop up here. So he wants to put an end to that. It's closed. So there's no glass underneath.
We ripped this open. It's full exposure. Also, if it rains, this guy's gonna be pissed off. The dog, man. The dog's getting outside, so we're just putting repairs on these windows over here. Dog getting outside with dog. Some dog within this residence is getting outside. We're not blaming you or anything. We're just saying that we're just trying to make sure the windows are secure. That's it. That's all we're doing is we're just securing up the windows, man. That's it. There's a f***ing power line.
I can get it.
No. I want to do it. This is something I want to do. I gotta do it myself. We should be starting at 6 a.m. That's our confirmed ETA. We're gonna take the doors as fast as possible. We want to get the jump on them before they have time to potentially start a physical altercation. Safety is of the utmost concern.
So as you see behind me, we're about 10 minutes into the operation. The main gate has been removed successfully. They're working on the secondary gates, and I imagine they're gonna hop over to where the Serranios are squatting, remove their front gate, and go upstairs and bust out the rest. I briefly spoke with the Serranios off camera. They didn't seem to be very upset. They just wanted to know what was going on. They were told that they're not gonna be entering the unit, so it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a problem, but the gate is going to be coming down. So it'll be interesting. We're gonna walk through it all and day in the life of squatter removal services.
So what we want is not unlimited access. We're leaving the doors, but we're doing what is legally compliant, all right? What is legally compliant is there being a door on there. Does not say that we need to have metal bars reinforcing security. There's no legal compliance for that. So we're just removing these fortification, okay? This is fortification tools. So that way we can have necessary repairs and be able to actually move forward in access to the property to make it a little easier to have access and potentially even do a police civil standby for a move-in. That's the goal.
I don't advise any landlord or property owner to personally try and evict your tenant. One, it's not lawful here in the state of California, right? It may be different in Texas and Florida and some other states, but there's a risk. You just don't know how dangerous these people are. You know, I've seen a lot of dangerous people that are squatters in the course of the last 10 years. So you want to keep things safe. That should be the police officer's job. I think the police in Texas will do that for you. I think the police in Florida will do that for you. So I don't recommend that. I do recommend, and it's just a shame. Depends on where you are, right? The guards or the bars on the doors and the security doors.
You have multiple of the neighbors just sitting out watching, and they're all excited, and they've actually been saying thank you to some of the crew. So it's just quite fascinating to see. You know, none of them want to be on camera because it's dangerous out here, a lot of gang violence, and obviously gang members are involved in this specific situation. But they've just been telling us stories time and time again about how essentially this neighborhood, at least this portion, has become hell ever since the Serranios and these other squatters have moved into this property.
Every day, all day long, there's stolen cars, there's stolen shit there all day long.
Right.
Drugs, guns, I mean everything. It's just it's a piece of shit, man.
You think if I were to get like cameras all up filming where they're setting the cars, you think that would mean shit to the cops? Probably not.
They don't do that. They
They
come
don't probably
okay, so
mean- even if I have it filmed.
They come here once or twice, maybe a week, with AK-47s. I
Mhm.
mean, the whole work is drones. I
Right.
mean, the whole street is blocked off left and right, dude.
Right.
I
right.
mean, and, you know, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing. They don't go in because it says squatters' rights, and they
Yeah.
can't go in unless the owner gives them permission.
Hey, what are you opening my door for?
What?
What are you opening my door for?
They've been ordered by the city to come and remove these doors.
Okay.
Okay.
I already made a report about the guy who sent y'all and the camera. I got video all of y'all.
It's illegal for us to record. We're with the media. It's not illegal for us to record.
You're breaking in my house, bro. Esa es mi casa esa. Le voy a llamar a la policía, eh? I'm gonna call the police, bro. Give me my phone, bro.
We're not the ones doing it. We're literally just here to document. Call them. Yeah, call them.
You know that, right?
I'm not involved. We're literally just here to film, ma'am.
Hold on.
It's our job.
Take a video, bro, of all this motherfucker, bro.
If you want to talk to the guy that's in charge, he's downstairs.
Call the cops, bro. That's what I'm gonna do.
Call the cops.
You didn't take me to court or nothing, right?
I'm not involved, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm filming it.
I'm gonna make a report.
All right.
On you too.
Okay.
Because I got kids. I got kids in their school. So if
Okay.
they come back, I need all of them. Let me see. This is so crazy, bro. So this guy, and I don't know who. I got.
One of the squatters came out, was not very happy about the doors being taken off her house, and her boyfriend, husband, who knows, fellow crackhead-in-law, decided to sick their dog on us. So they said they'll be calling the cops. I highly doubt they're actually going to be calling the cops, but that was fun. You know, try to sick their lovely pit bull princess on us. Quite the adventure we've had so far. As you see, James just left. He just left. The moment I mentioned that the squatter said that she was going to be calling the cops, he said, "Well, I'm getting out of here." I don't know what that exactly means. And maybe James, you know, he had to leave because of the legally gray issue this topic kind of is. But yeah, it was just weird to see him run off like that. Maybe he didn't want to get blamed for something the contractors were doing. As I know that he has had charges in the past filed against him for things that he was actually not active in participating in. So he, but he's gone. So we'll try and get hold of him. Yeah, but I mean, granted, even despite all of the legal mumbo jumbo, he does have explicit permission from the owners.
I don't know yet. We're gonna wait for the cops. I don't want to be here for that.
I doubt she's
because of
actually
the ongoing
calling
thing.
the cops.
Well, we'll see. But
What's the response time in Oakland? 5 hours?
If they do, that's great. If they don't, whatever. That's what we got done. Okay. But
so are you telling the team to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Or
No, I'm telling them to keep doing what they're doing,
Okay, so
or whatever.
they're-
I mean, it's their call, not mine. If they, I tell them to wait for the police and let them decide if they can continue or not. Okay.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I told them. So it's their call, dude. But anyway, you have a good one, guys.
All right. See ya.
Get in the car.
Huh?
So get in the car.
Get inside, bro.
Y'all motherfuckers is crazy in the heat.
So we're currently in the very back of an auto zone. The tweakers you guys saw on cameras earlier that tried to sick their pit bull on us, said they were calling the cops. Actually, once again, tried to sick their pit bull on us and sprinted and chased us across the street into the auto zone. So the employee thought it was funny enough circumstances to let us back here to hang out for a minute, but they're just in the store wandering around looking for us. So we just tried to go back out unsuccessfully, almost successfully. The AutoZone workers went and did some reconnaissance for us, and they were across the street. By the time we got back out, the other AutoZone worker was flagging us down, saying he's right here, he's right here. So he was literally, they're just sitting in the parking lot guarding guarding our car at this point in time, our rental car. So we're just waiting for an opening and trying not to get stabbed or shot by a tweaker or a pit bull. As I mean, maybe he'll shoot and bite us. Maybe it's not even his pit bull we got to worry about. But Oakland is interesting. Never thought I'd be waiting in an auto zone for a tweaker in a balaclava with this pit bull to stop guarding the entrance.
So as you can see, we're in the car on the freeway. We did make it out after, I think it was about 30-40 minutes of deliberating with the AutoZone staff that was nice enough to help us out in the time of need, of checking on the people out front, seeing if the guy is still there with his dog, ready to let him off leash around our car. So we ended up getting the call essentially that the ghost was clear, and he actually pulled our rental car up for us. Very good lad. If you're watching this, as I imagine you are, thank you very much. Saved us from a bad time. But yeah, we got out. No pit bull bites. A little bit of cuts and bruising. You know, we may have fell down a flight of stairs or two. But yeah, that's what the squatter removal process looks like. That is your alternative to the expensive lawyer fees and attorney fees and sheriff's fees on actually the eviction process. So not a very good alternative, but I can understand why people are using it.
The squatter has taken over the property. Person doesn't know yet. Tenant the landlord comes inside. Does that squatter, now that it is technically his residence, he has a right to it.
Yeah,
Can
he possesses
defend
it
himself from the landlord coming in?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And that's very unfortunate. Once the squatter takes possession of that property, has procedural rights to that property, the landlord cannot enter that property. Oh, and I'll give you one more to that interesting analogy. If the landlord stops paying the electric bill, the landlord stops paying the heating bill, the water bill, garbage bill, any of that stuff, the utilities, the landlord will be liable for damages to the squatter.
Wow.
So you need to make sure the squatter is warm at night, has electricity, they can turn on their Christmas lights, enjoy the holidays. And I wish I were joking, but this is real,
Jonathan says squatter removal services are legal in California. Property owners have every right to reclaim their homes from unauthorized occupants. Some services look for loopholes, such as signing a lease with the owner to gain legal occupancy rights themselves, then out-squatting the squatters.
Go into a property and they'll say, look, I'm a tenant now too, I'm squatting here, so You know, so there's some contention between that person and the squatter. And the squatter, it's so funny. Oftentimes these squatters will say, well, this is my place. I have rights here. And it's like, well, where's your lease agreement? You know, so these people are now defending their house, you know? So I like the design of it because, and it doesn't work for every tenancy. Sometimes you have dangerous people that are breaking into these properties as well. So sometimes it can be riskier than others, but I like it by design for people who may not be able to afford the assistance of an attorney or who are looking for other ways. It's creative.
But squatting isn't just an urban problem. We traveled to Anza, a small farming community where you never expect a crime like squatting to take place.
So back in about September of 24, this guy Peng Su Yang and his parents and basically his family were going to sell this property to this guy Howard Berkowitz. And they like this location in Anza is not, from what I hear, is not like this, you know, it's not easy to sell property here, so it's not like high interest kind of vacation home kind of thing, but they thought they had a good buyer in this guy Howard Berkowitz, and he told them, and they had a broker, and the broker said he's a good buyer, he has a lot of equity in his house that he was allegedly selling in Lake Elsinore, and that he has a classic car collection and he had all this stuff, and that he could buy it. And he was really interested in a fast sale. And they were like, okay, cool. He wanted early occupancy because he had to move his birds here. And he told them it was going to be 60 birds, and it ended up being, you know, over 1,000.
Howard Berkowitz can often be seen walking from one enclosure to the next as he cares for an array of waterfowl and chickens in his care.
This is the 4th place I've been this year.
Once again, he's on the move after a neighbor complained, and he decided to spare the property owner the headache of a legal fight. So he's packing up his flock with the help of volunteers and relocating to another temporary place. But he's hoping the community will help him reach a permanent solution.
$8,000, then he was supposed to be able to occupy the place in November 1st. And that would be early occupancy.
The deal was made for $8,000 to be paid for early occupancy for November 1st, though Howard was already excavating his duck sanctuary by mid-October. And in fact, Howard never paid that money, and instead, he became a squatter.
And the owners were like, well, what's going on, to the broker? And the broker was like, don't worry, you know, he's gonna pay and this and that. And they're like, but he doesn't have, you know, we don't have, the deal's not closed yet. And he's like, he's like, don't worry, the deal's gonna close, everything's gonna be fine. They didn't know about this, the owners didn't know, but animal control and code enforcement were here, like, I think animal control was here end of September because they were called upon and to start doing their investigations, and for sure, definitely in October. But the Yangs who owned the property were never told about that. And then code enforcement started giving the property violations for excessive animals, accumulated rubbish, and excessive outside storage. And so the mail was supposed to be forwarded to them, but they never got the mail. And nobody ever called them, so the mail just didn't go anywhere. And they never knew that this was happening. But I knew people who cared about the animals, really, because we knew this person, Howard, has done this over a multitude of properties over the years. Him destroying his house and and hurting the animals and living in squalor like this. And that was in his house, so he could do what he wanted with it. But we knew what was going to happen at this property.
Any time that you are seeing this raised hay look, so from all the way here, all the way down to the end of the fence, there was a pen with hundreds, if not more, animals. And they're all over the property.
All over the
property. How many animals in total, if you had to guess?
I think definitely about 1,500. He put a lot of the dead ones in feed bags, and here you go. It's like all, I mean, this has been since like January. Can you see in there?
Yep.
I don't know.
Store them, just throw their dead.
They just throw their dead bodies. I mean, who knows how, there were a lot of feed bags.
Oh yeah, that was a chicken. Nice. What? So this is after the quote-unquote cleanup.
Oh my God, this is really sad. We gotta do this one. This is, oh, it's terrifying, actually. I think this is the swan.
There's a swan here?
Yeah.
Okay, swan.
I don't know, I think it was, because it's really big.
Oh yeah, no, that looks like it.
Should I do it?
Every single bag.
Yeah. Look at that, it's so...
It doesn't really look like there was much of a cleanup effort here. Oh.
Oh.
Those are dead bags right there. Smell it.
It itches, actually. Like, when you, come in, it really itches. Like, you feel how thick the air is. It's all rat infestation. This is all.
Dead animals?
Yeah.
Wait, what is that? What does that box say? I love my pet?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's pretty good. Oh. Yeah, told you there were cats here.
Right here you have the garage access. Here's the kitchen. Obviously, in quite a bit of disarray. He used to, apparently, the animals that he kept in here, who knows how many, he would bring right here, he cut a hole into the ground and he would just hose them off. So he was using the kitchen space not to eat, or who knows if he was eating in here as well, but he's literally hosing all of these sick animals off. And then this pen and this pen here, supposedly he was using the pens for the disabled animals, so the animals with injuries that can't walk, or the animals that are sick. This is the quarantine crate that he used. I mean, if you just take a look around, it's literally feathers everywhere. And the ground is nothing but poop. They basically have a poop floor. It's like we're in a hut in a third world country right now. He's got a balcony with even more storage areas for his geese and ducks and other animals. There's a bunch of them out there. Layers and layers of poop on top of it. Literally just a blanket floor. So keep in mind that what you're seeing right here did not belong to the person who did this. The people that were actually the rightful owners of the property that wanted to list and sell the property, they live halfway across the country. So they had no idea these are the conditions. As you see, he took quite great care of the place, to say the least.
He's a legal non-for-profit, so that means he doesn't pay taxes. It's tax deductible, not-for-profit as an animal sanctuary. Like, this is supposed to be a sanctuary.
So that's how he keeps
And this is
doing
what
it
he,
over
well,
and over again.
Right, because he misleads the public, in my opinion, and people donate, and they think that they are helping the animals, and he's this duck messiah, that he's this
He's
saint,
doing this on
and he's
social media?
rescuing. Oh yeah, all over social media. So I'm gonna go with hundreds of visits from animal control, like from officers over the years. Hundreds of complaints, I'm gonna say, right, from different people, and they have never cited him once for animal abuse or any kind of animal cruelty. I think January or February, code enforcement, this officer, Sarah Kelly, actually finally got in touch with Peng Su Yang, who's the owner of the property, and she spoke with Cheng, who's the brother-in-law of Peng Su Yang, who you spoke with. They all live in Minnesota. And Sarah Kelly, the supervisor for ANZA at the time for code enforcement, advised Cheng and Peng Su Yang and the family that they should potentially start the eviction process, because he's been on the property for X amount of time, and he's getting his mail here, and he's getting, all this stuff. And still at that time, he was a potential buyer of the property, so he wasn't, I guess, squatting, per se yet, on paper. But I think it was March 26th, code enforcement and animal control did a joint inspection of this property with Howard Berkowitz walking them around, and the realtor was here too. And they, I guess, walked around the property and took pictures and all this stuff, and they saw the animals, and they gave, again, the owners all the fine.
I actually will look into that case now, because I wasn't aware of that. That is the first time I've heard about that. But I've had situations where the squatter would have, and this is pretty common, some drug activity going on, some trafficking activity, people coming in and out of the residence looking, really, something's really, something funny is really going on, obviously, right? And I have seen a situation where the police officer questioned the landlord about it, almost threatened to prosecute the landlord over it. The landlord, I don't even know what's going on there. I haven't set foot in that property in months. And I had to get involved in that case, but it can happen more often than not, because property owners still on title. Property owners still on the hook for everything. Property owners still on the liability insurance policy. I mean, we can even have a conversation about what happens with the insurance policy if insurance is notified there's some illegal, weird activity going on in the property.
The house is going to need to, you'll see soon, but the house is going to need to be probably demolished. So, and all the buildings, except for maybe the garage or something. And the land is pretty contaminated as well. So the value of the property was $250,000. The damage I don't think has been estimated, but I would have to find that out. But it's a pretty much a total loss, except for the land, which will still need to be cleaned up. So I think what they would like, is to just, obviously just to get reimbursed for the $250 and just, and like get the property gone and like just be done with it. But I don't know, that would be the ideal situation, to just be done with it and just move on, but I don't know how that's going to happen without a lot of lawsuits, and I don't know, they haven't had lawyers jumping up and down to try to help them either.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever that sort of, age range is, and you're saying, okay, I'm starting to plan, I'm starting to save, what's the down payment worth? It's going to be a lot in your savings. It's going to require a loan. You're getting all this together. And then because you happen to be on social media, you happen to follow the news, you're an informed citizen, you find that there's a good percentage chance, or let's say a decent percentage chance, that if I do the wrong thing, a squatter could possibly take my property. And again, it happens more often than you think. There's going to be a big disincentive for Generation Z to actually say, I'm going to take on that same risk, you know, because let's just be honest, you didn't have these risks with my parents or their parents, you know, and even in my generation, I'm only seeing these kinds of risks happen in the last 10 years. You know, this stuff is more recent. So if you're coming up in the next generation right now, you've got to be thinking to yourself, is it worth it?
California's laws have created a crisis where stealing a home can feel consequence-free. Homeowners pay the price in money, safety, and sanity. But is this just a California problem? Or is squatting spreading nationwide? In 2025 and 2026, states from Florida to Georgia, Indiana to Texas have rushed to pass new anti-squatter laws, criminalizing it, empowering police to remove trespassers quickly. At least 11 states enacted expedited measures last year, with more considering reforms. Yet critics argue it's overhyped, tied to housing shortages and homelessness, and not a true epidemic. If nothing changes, more families could face the nightmare we've documented here. But this is not just about boomers' investments. If this continues, owning a home could turn into a liability for a young person. In a state like California that thrives on real estate, it begs to question why they are allowing this to continue happening.